No change in demeanor. Very important. Calm, cool, and collected. You're going to see non-compliances.
And if you see the compliance that you really can't live with, tell them, follow me, try to keep up. Well, I'm running away from here.
Okay, at the end of an assessment, always ask, is there anything else you'd like to share with me today while I'm here? And you never know what they're going to say. This is where they might give a grievance to you. Well, my process would be better if, blah, blah, blah. Write it down. Write it down. You never know. They could have some value right there. They might be just complaining. They might be a sour onion, but write it down. Show them that you're listening, you're focused. Okay, anything else? I mean, you don't want them to go on and on, but capture what they say. Try to capture it in their words. You don't want to interpret what they're saying. You want exactly what they say. Be very careful. Yes?
I hear you saying document exactly what they say. I hear you saying write copious notes about specific things you did. How do you feel about having a little recorder or an app that does a thing where you talk to it and it prints out the stuff that you're doing? How do you feel about stuff like that?
Personally, I'm fine with it, but I don't think assessees are. I think that's very intimidating for them. I love dictation machines. My new iPad does dictation. It's like, oh my God, this is so great. But afterwards, when you get back to your car or something and you've got all this stuff flying through your head, go ahead and talk to your dictation machine. It's like, well, I saw this, I saw that, this, I got to remember to do that, I got to talk to this one about that, That's fine. But in front of them, I think it's a little intimidating.
Recording pen might not be a bad too.
Recording pen?
Ones that record your strokes and when they get done, they spit out.
Oh.
Put them in your USB port and they spit out Word document.
If they don't want to talk to you anymore, that's fine. Just thank them for their time. I remember you were gracious here, were kind. Wrap up. Now, this is where you do tell them, as we noted during the assessment, that step 3 said this and this was not occurring. You agree with that, right? Right. And you gave me your reasons why, right? Right or wrong, good or bad, right? So that, because it's going to be in your report. And so at that point, you have to tell them that, that's the part where you have to be very clear if there was a deficiency. So, where was I? Okay, so right there, you don't sugarcoat it. There's no secrets, there's no gotchas when the report comes out. And believe me, I've seen that happen, and that is not right. As auditors, we have integrity. We tell them, we both agree, step 3 was not followed, correct? Correct. And that will be in the report. Simple as that. So when the report comes out, when you write your report, you do write it in there. And you write it clear, concise, add strengths, add OFIs, right, whenever possible. Capture all the aspects, the good and bad. In an assessment, now, if you're doing a compliance audit, then, you're not there really to look for strengths and all that. You're there to affect compliance. But in assessments, again, this is where you can really write a nice balanced report. Keep it factual. Comments must be confirmable, traceable, and verifiable, should you be questioned. And you probably will on occasion. It's okay. You're there. Okay, so if there was a deficiency in your report, you always link it to the non-conformance. You must, and I read a report not too long ago. It's like, well, this and this and this and this. It's like, and what is it linked to? Where is the document that says it had to be this way, right? Because if there's no document that says it has to be that way, then how can it be a non-compliance? So it must be linked, traceable back to that requirement. You cannot write a finding or a deficiency without that. You could think it. God knows we see stuff. But if it's not a requirement, it's not a non-compliance. It could be a suggestion for improvement, right? So if it's a deficiency, link it to what right down to the, on process blankety blank, section 4, item 3, this. Because it could have been that the entire rest of the process was perfect. So you don't want to slam the whole thing. You can say, of the 7 steps in this process, 6 were perfect. 6 followed completely. Step 8, there was a nonconformance. Right? Give them credit where credit's due. Give them deficiency where deficiency's due. Don't tell them we failed. Tell them we made a strategic decision to temporarily postpone as it said. I don't know if I'd buy that one, but. Okay, OFEs. OFEs are huge in assessments because, again, why are we doing it? We're doing it to learn, right? Sometimes when I consider what a tremendous consequences come from little things, I'm tempted to think there are no little things. Because all of the improvements that you make, and if you're a pretty high-performing company, they're gonna be little things. The transformational things have already been done. So to get better, it's gonna be in small increments, right? It's not this big jump, this big transformational change. Although once in a while it does surprise you. Little things can make huge difference. So as an assessor, those little things are very important.
And even in external audit, all the ISO 9000, AS 9100, all those, there's always OFE or OFE-like categories
Yes.
in their audit reports.
And that's, and you know, we know ISO is more prescriptive than some of the methodologies, so absolutely. Okay, then, does your report need verification? Okay, well, as a rule, I would usually send it back to those I assessed, not to argue, but to say, did I capture things accurately? Did I capture our discussion accurately? Because once in a while, you miss something. You thought you talked to so-and-so and it was actually, that was the wrong name. You talked to somehow your notes got confused or whatever. So you really want to, it's just accuracy. It's not conceptual. So they could say, no, we weren't in that department, we were in this department, or whatever, just to make sure that you have the details. And it makes them feel like they were part of it. And then, you know, most of your assessments are going to be positive, and that makes them feel proud when they see their name and that they got strengths and they were able to see it before their boss saw it. I mean, you know, that it really helps with the buy-in piece. So as a rule, I generally let my assessees read my assessment report prior to sending it up the leadership chain. Now, if they want to change something, that's a different story. I don't let them do that. And I never take anything out that I've put in. But if I get a word wrong or a name wrong, certainly I thank them and I correct that. And they do feel like it's a part, they've participated, and that's good. They should have that feeling that, you know, this was my assessment report and I scored. I did great. Let them feel proud. So you can decide if you want to do that or not. And then once an assessment report is ready, then it goes through the formal review process. You sign off, your boss signs off, their boss signs off, right? It has to go through. I'm sure your assessment reports have some method to help the knowledge move up the chain of command. If it doesn't, it should.
Remember Ripple? No. I can't even get my boss to come to my outbriefing meetings when I'm going over the report.
Give me his name.
Get him to stop.
Let me talk to him. Okay, and then of course you should have a timeline. You know, I had an instance a few years back where they said they had never read the assessment report on their department, and it had been like a year and a half. And it was like, oh my gosh. So they went through all this. It was like a 2-week assessment. It was a big deal. They never had the results back to them. So those things do happen. Have a timeline, whatever it is, whether it's 30 days, whether it's 2 weeks. Spot inspection should be, I'll tell you, within 10 days. There's no reason a spot inspection can't be within 10 days. You know, the bigger audits, understood, they may have a more formal review process, whatever your process says.